enforcement officers.
ATVU has learned that a San Francisco sheriff's deputy received termination papers twice, but was never fired. The accusations against him include physical abuse and inappropriate sexual behavior. KTVU's Tara Moriarty gives us a rare look at the investigation into a sheriff's deputy and why his attorney says the allegations against him are unfounded.
Deputy Doug Jones has worked for the San Francisco County jail system for 13 years. It's what's happened in the last 3 that's gotten him in trouble.
He bothered everybody in that cell. Just thinking about it, he was a mental case.
Howard Barnes sat in jail on a burglary charge in July of 2010. According to internal affairs documents obtained by 2 investigates, Barnes and this inmate, Darius Mackey, became victims of unnecessary and gratuitous force at the hands, feet, and knees of Jones and another deputy.
They kicked me, they kneed me, the handcuffs was all the way. My hands were numb, they were actually numb. I couldn't feel my hands no more, and that's when I started breaking down and crying and saying, please leave me alone.
The internal affairs documents refer to video, which shows the other inmate without any justification getting thrown to the floor, a knee on his back, and a boot to his neck. Then later, Deputy Jones is accused of smashing his head into a wall.
I knew it was wrong, and I didn't know what was, I was scared. I ain't gonna lie, I was scared.
The sheriff took action. 2 investigates obtained this termination letter from then-Sheriff Michael Hennessy, but Jones successfully fought the firing, instead receiving a 1-month suspension and a stern warning that any future misconduct will result in your dismissal. Attorney Harry Stern now represents Deputy Jones.
So a force case in the jail, even one that resulted in a suspension, isn't that unusual.
But new allegations surfaced a 1.5 years later with 6 female inmates who accused Jones of inappropriate sexual behavior.
This is a group of people, the professional crooks, the professional cheats and liars. They basically were trying to perpetrate more or less a scam.
And there are stories from women after their release from jail, like Carolyn Gomes, a convicted felon who can't legally possess a gun, saying Jones allowed her to shoot his guns at the Jackson Arms Range. Melinda Garrett says after her release, Jones went against orders not to contact her, obtained her address from her booking card while she was in custody, went to her residence to have sex with her, and asked her to assist in purchasing crack cocaine. Cell phone records indicate he placed calls to her cell phone 17 times between March 13th and May 24th, 2012.
She found out his cell phone number, I believe, from another inmate and began calling him. It was a series of phone calls from someone who he wasn't sure who it was.
Mark Nico is the assistant legal counsel for the Sheriff's Department. We asked him about the deputy's second termination letter for these incidents, which Jones again successfully fought, and this time received a 6-month suspension from current Sheriff Ross Mercarimi.
6 months is quite a long suspension. That would indicate that there was behavior or a history that needed to be addressed.
Nico says he can't go into detail on specific cases, so we showed the documents to an independent police accountability specialist.
It's very disturbing.
Barbara Attard says she's reviewed thousands of police misconduct cases.
His first notice of suspension said that if there was another incident, he would be terminated. So that's somewhat like being on probation, I think, and there were 2 more incidents. Why he was not terminated, I don't understand.
There's a history here, there's a pattern.
Right, the history and the pattern here is him being harassed by someone.
We tried to ask Jones himself, but were unsuccessful. The internal affairs documents don't contain Jones's defense or why the Sheriff's Department changed its mind, not once, but twice. Is this person Teflon, or what would it take?
No, it would absolutely depend upon what the nature of the allegations were and how they were proven or not.
But the stack of documents and history of this deputy leaves some wondering.
And I think it points to some real issues with how discipline's being handled in the Sheriff's Department.
Deputy Jones's final day of suspension is tomorrow. He will be back at work Wednesday. 2 investigates has learned he will not be allowed to have any contact with inmates. Tara Moriarty, KTVU, Channel 2 News.
The attorney for
If they fire this deputy, he will expose corruption. Basically, the San Francisco deputy sheriff doing this to a lot of inmates. For example, in 2011, my food was injected with poisoning to cover up the judge's corruption, which is San Francisco Superior Court Judge Patrick Mahoney, Judge Donna Little, Judge Mary Morgan, Judge Susan Burial, and Judge Kevin McCarthy. they used the sheriff deputy to violate inmate right and to destroy the evidence of the judge's misconduct. That's what happened in my case. But what happened when they injected my food with poisoning, I know the name of the deputy, Deputy Philpert, Deputy Jones, Senior Deputy McCain. I did file a complaint. First, I filed a grievance. They refused to respond to my grievance. Then I went to the Internal Affair. Also, they refused to respond to my grievance. Also, I went and I filed federal lawsuit, accuse those deputy of a serious civil and a human right violation. So why they not firing those deputy? Because those deputies have a lot of information about the district attorney, about the judges, how they convict people, how they destroy them mentally and emotionally in custody to keep them in custody for a long time. I'm speaking with you from experience. This is what happened to me, at least. So San Francisco previously injected my food with poisoning to cover up the judge's corruption. I know the name of the deputy. I know how they did it. I know where they put the poisoning, but nothing being done. So what I did file that federal lawsuit, and I want to see if the federal department put an end for this type of corruption, which is destroying and ruining the whole justice system in San Francisco County.